We're going to progress next into a single arm row. Now, I like doing this on one knee if the person's able to, or in a lunge position. Just because in that position, there's a little bit more of a stretch on some of the muscles that cross my hips, so I'm getting a little bit more done. When I have the feet side by side, I feel like there's more of a tendency as I'm pulling to arch my back or to strain at my back. So I feel like this sets me up to have a little bit more tension, stability through my hips. So I like going down to one knee or in a lunge position just because it seems to work other things while I'm working on the rowing motion. So in standing in the lunge, usually if I'm rowing with my right hand, I'm going to have that leg back. So in this position, I want to step back so there's a little bit of tension in this band. And you'll see for me, I try and get as much space between my feet as comfortable. And that back foot's going to be up on the toe. And if I start with both my knees straight, then that front knee is just going to bend a little. So now I put some stretch on my hip flexor, and there's maybe a little bit of a stretch in my hamstring while I'm in somewhat of a balanced, unsteady position. Okay? So here, I'm going to let my hand with the band or resistance reach forward as my other hand reaches behind me. And I keep this shoulder down, I'm not raising it up. And then from here, I'm going to get a little bit of rotation, and my other hand will come forward as I pull back into this row. Big issue with the row is a lot of people really want to pull that elbow back, and that shoulder blade starts to raise up. So as I row, I'm only coming to where I can keep that shoulder down and back. I almost want to feel like I'm pulling like a little bit into this wider out to the side direction, as opposed to keeping this pinched real close to my ribs. So once again, I reach, and then as I pull and my hands pass each other, I get just to where my elbows kind of even with my side, keeping this down. And just so you see what it looks like from the other side, same thing here. I get this reach, and I reach my other arm back. And then same thing as I pull, I come back to this tall position. You'll also notice in my lower back, as I come to this pulling back motion, I don't do this. So I try to do most of the work pulling through my hips, squeezing my butt and stomach, so I keep this neutral as I come into this pull. And I like this opposite rotation. This is very similar to what we call a contralateral pattern in running or walking, is my left leg advances, my right arm usually advances. So I like training this rowing motion in a similar fashion. And I like to try 10 to 20 reps. You can do it in the lunge, or you can come down onto one knee and it'd be the same thing. So, for the lunge, I was really far back here. You could step a little closer to start, so it's not as difficult. The further back, the harder. Or you can come down to one knee, and it's the same idea. I let this arm reach, and then I lightly squeeze my butt and pull into this row just to where I'm straight up and down, not overly pulling back and not excessively arching my lower back. But it's the same mechanics as I had when I was in standing in the lunge position. And just like all the other exercises, 10 to 20 reps, trying to get to some level of fatigue.